Eddie, Mirrors First Driving Instructor. In this video, I will be going through all of the Show Me Tell Me questions, which are part of the practical driving test. There are 14 Tell Me questions and 7 Show Me questions, which you will have to know before your test. On the day of your test, the examiner will ask you 2 safety questions. One from the 14 Tell Me questions and one from the 7 Show Me questions. The examiner will ask you the one Tell Me question when you're at the car before you start driving. All you have to do is explain to the examiner how you'd conduct the safety check. You don't have to show the examiner how you'd do it. If the question is under the bonnet, you must be able to open and close the bonnet. In this video, I'll show you how all of the Tell Me questions are done so that you can explain it better to the examiner. If you can't tell the examiner how it's done, don't worry, you won't fail your test. It will only be a driving fault. Now, what you need to know about the one Show Me question. This question could be asked at any point whilst you're driving, including the independent driving. The examiner will say to you, when it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd, for example, operate the horn? Please remember the key words, when it's safe to do so. Don't rush yourself. Stay calm, try not to steer at the control, and make sure you're in full control of the car before you show the examiner how it's done. Now, I'm going to cover all of the Tell Me questions, then all of the Show Me questions. Firstly, how to open the bonnet. There's 3 questions the examiner might ask you that involve you having to open the bonnet. The car I'm using in this video is a Toyota Yaris, very popular car among driving instructors. To open the bonnet of this car, there's a catch on the driver's side, just above the accelerator pedal. Just pull it. Then go around the front of the car. At the center point of the bonnet, there's another catch. Just slide it to the left and hold it whilst lifting the bonnet. Pull the bonnet stay up, place it into the hole, and make sure it is secure. The procedure to opening this car bonnet is very similar to opening most cars' bonnet. Open the bonnet and tell me how you'd check that the engine has sufficient oil. As this is a Tell Me question, all you have to do is point at the dipstick and tell the examiner what I'm going to show you. You'd pull the dipstick out, it will be covered in oil, wipe it clean with a piece of tissue, stick it back in, pull it back out, and there should be an oil mark between the minimum and the maximum marker on the dipstick. If you need to top the oil up, pour it in here. Open the bonnet and tell me how you check that the engine has sufficient engine coolant. The engine coolant is here. You check it down the side. The level should be between the low and full markers. You'd open the lid only when it's cold to top it up, not when it's hot because it could be dangerous. Open the bonnet and tell me how you check that you have a safe level of hydraulic brake fluid. The brake fluid reservoir is just under here. It got a circle in brackets on the top. Check down the side to ensure the level is between the minimum and the maximum markers. How to close the bonnet. Lift it slightly as you pull the bonnet stay out of the hole. Place it back into the clip. Lower the bonnet about 3/4 of the way down. Mind your fingers as you dropped it. If it doesn't close properly, just push on the edge firmly. Now let's have a look at the other tell me questions. Tell me how you would check that the brakes are working before starting a journey. Tell the examiner you drive forward slowly, press the foot brake, it shouldn't feel spongy or slack, and the car shouldn't pull to one side. Tell me how you make sure your head restraint is correctly adjusted so it provides the best protection in the event of a crash. Tell the examiner that the head restraint should be adjusted so that the rigid part of the head restraint is as high as the eyes or top of the ears and as close to the back of the head as is comfortable. There's a button at the bottom of the head restraint. If you need to move the head restraint up or down, just press on it. Tell me where you would find the information for the recommended tire pressures for this car and how tire pressures should be checked. Tell the examiner you would find it in the manufacturer's guide. And you'd check and adjust pressures when tires are cold using a reliable pressure gauge. Also, check your spare tire and remember to refit valve caps. Tell me how you'd check the tires to ensure that they have sufficient tread depth and that their general condition is safe to use on the road. Tell the examiner you check your tires with a tread depth gauge. The tread depth should be no less than 1.6 millimeters across the central 3/4 of the breadth of the tires and around the entire outer circumference of the tires. There should be no cuts and bulges on the walls of the tires. Tell me how you check that the headlights and tail lights are working. You don't need to exit the vehicle. Tell the examiner you turn the ignition on, then turn on the dip headlights switch. The dip headlight switch for this car is to the left of the steering wheel and the tip of this lever. Twist it twice forwards to this symbol. Then you'll notice this green light on the dashboard. Then go outside and check the headlights and tail lights. Tell me how you would know if there was a problem with your anti-lock braking system. Tell the examiner when you turn the ignition on, the ABS warning light will illuminate on the dashboard. When you start the car, the warning light should go off unless there's a problem. The ABS is the abbreviation for anti-lock braking system. Tell me how you'd check the direction indicators are working. You don't need to exit the vehicle. Tell the examiner you'd press the hazard warning light button, which is this red triangle. Then you would walk around the car to ensure all 6 indicator lights are working. Tell me how you'd check the power assisted steering is working before starting a journey. Tell the examiner you'd apply gentle pressure on the steering wheel while the engine is started. Should result in a slight but noticeable movement as the system begins to operate. Another way to check it, as you move off, turn the steering wheel slightly. It should feel light and not heavy. Tell me how you check the brake lights are working on this car. Tell the examiner you turn the ignition on, press the brake pedal, check in windows or a garage door for reflection, or ask someone to check the brake lights for you. Tell me how you'd switch on the rear fog light and explain when you'd use it. You don't need to exit the vehicle. Tell the examiner you turn the ignition on, turn on the dip headlights, then turn on the rear fog light. The switch for the rear fog light in this car is here, and the same lever as the dip headlights. Twist it upwards to this light symbol. Tell the examiner you'd know it's on because of this amber warning light on the dashboard, and you'd use your rear fog light when you can't see more than 100 meters. Tell me how you'd switch your headlight from dip to main beam and explain how you'd know the main beam is on. Tell the examiner you'd turn the ignition on, then turn on the dip headlights. The switch for the dip headlights in this car is on the tip of this lever. Just twist it twice forwards to this symbol, then push the lever away from you. There will be a blue light appearing on the dashboard for the main beam. In other cars, you might have to pull the lever towards you. That's all of the 14 Tell Me questions covered. Now, let's have a look at the 7 Show Me questions. Try to get familiar with where the controls are and how to use them before doing it on the move. Now, let's go through each of the Show Me questions. When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd open and close the side window? The controls are on the driver's door. The button on the right is for the driver's window. Just press it down to fully open the window. Pull it up to close the window. The examiner will say to you when it's safe to do so, can you show me how you would open and close the side window? Remember the keywords, safe to do so. If there's a hazard in front of you, deal with it first. Don't rush yourself. Don't stare at the controls. Stay calm and make sure you're in full control of the car before you show the examiner how to do it. When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you wash and clean the front windscreen? Firstly, let's locate where the control is in this car to wash and clean the front windscreen, so you'll know where to find it whilst the car is on the move. If the car you're driving is different from this one, your instructor will show you where to find the control. It's this lever here just to the right of the steering column. Pull it towards the steering, hold for 2 seconds, then release. It will wash and wipe the front windscreen automatically and cancel on its own. Be mindful that in other vehicles you might have to turn the wiper on and off yourself. When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you wash and clean the rear windscreen? Let's locate where the control is in this car to wash and clean the rear windscreen so you'll know where to find it whilst the car is on the move. If the car you're driving is different from this one, your instructor will show you where to find the control. It's just here on the same lever as the front windscreen. Twist it towards you, thumb down, hold for 2 seconds, then release. It will wash and wipe the rear windscreen and automatically cancel on its own. Be mindful that in other vehicles you might have to turn the wiper on and off yourself. When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd set the rear demister? This button is for the rear demister. Press on it to set the rear demister. Press on it a second time to cancel. When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd operate the horn? This is where the horn is on the steering wheel. If you need to use it, just give it a good squeeze. When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd switch on your dip headlights? Let's have a look where the dip headlights switch is and how to operate it before doing it on the move. It's just here on the tip of this lever. Be mindful that the dip headlights and the front headlights are the same. Twist it twice forwards to this light symbol. You should notice this green light on the dashboard. When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd demist the front windscreen? Let's have a look where to find the controls and how to set them before doing it on the move. If the car you're driving is different from this one, setting the demister could be slightly different. Your instructor will show you how to do it. Firstly, let's set this control on the front windscreen. Turn the fan on. Then turn the heater up. That's the end of the Show Me Tell Me questions. Thanks for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to the channel. Also like, share and comment.